here in the flesh on the Nolan podcast.
Yes, sir.
What's it called, actually?
Student of the game.
Sorry, I knew that.
Okay.
Student of the game podcast, baby. Student of the game. I'm learning.
We have both. Both lights on you right now. We're shining you up. Shining you up.
You gotta put both lights on me.
Gots
I don't
to.
gotta say why, but
Gots to.
mandatory.
We were just right before we pressed the red button. We were having a nice little chat.
Yeah.
About all the shit that can't get recorded, which is that's always my favorite frequency with you. Our conversations are always so fire. We'll catch up and we'll just do these really epic fucking deep dives where it just feels
off the record.
Yeah, it feels like it's a mind meld. But then I think both of us try to operate in a space of transparency where we're yo, we should record that.
Yeah.
We've said that 2 or 3 times, so I was just damn, we got to do this. And I'm always just nervous about doing this. I don't know why. I feel like it should be
It's chill. We're just holding a mic.
Yeah, exactly.
You should maybe get a headset, a Backstreet Boys earpiece. It'd be more comfortable.
Right.
Like a TED Talk joint.
Right. Just to kind of jump right into it, you mentioned something about doing a dopamine detox, and right there I was just ooh, that's interesting. I'm interested in that. I want to hear about that. What prompted that, and what was the?
I just think for a long time I had sort of a unspoken mantra in my head of actually it wasn't unspoken. I would write it down a lot and I would say it out loud sometimes I just want my life to be centered around peace and pleasure. And then after years of thinking that and wanting to do that, I started to realize pleasure is a little intoxicating, and centering your life around pleasure, peace is valid. You should always have peace. But the pleasure, I was wait, there can be too much pleasure for sure. You know what I mean? I think when I realized that, I realized I wanted to shift from peace and pleasure to peace and purpose. And so I was I want to do the things that are purposeful and fulfilling to me. And through that, I will get pleasure. But putting pleasure at the center was just not it, because there's so many pleasurable things that are not good for you, you know? And I just wanted to do less indulging and just being more intentional with where I'm putting my energy and making sure that it is contributing to the purpose and the peace. So yeah, the dopamine detox, it actually isn't an official dopamine detox. I heard that term after I sort of started to cut these different hits of dopamine out of my life. But yeah, it's just I'm just trying to focus back in, hone in on the purpose, you know? And I think everybody has that same thing where they're they know what they're supposed to be doing, and there's those things that just feel good that you're just a little more of that. And sometimes you got to be you know what? It feels good to tell yourself, yeah, obviously that feels good, and maybe it's not even a depletive thing. Maybe it isn't taking anything away from you, but it would add to you more to do something that is directly speaking to and contributing to the purpose. So, yeah.
How did you arrive at that? Because that's a super profound thing to kind of identify, especially when you have a mantra that is you're even identifying you want to prioritize pleasure, and then you're kind of going, wait a second, because it's obviously you probably went down that road a bit,
yeah,
right, where you're kind of going, and then you realize this is too much.
I was just having too much fun. Just having too much fun, bro. Life's too good. Yeah. It's great. But even sometimes in my downtime, I'll just waste time. I'll be playing video games for 2 hours sometimes, and then I'm just why am I here? I'm locked in here because it's I'm getting, there's some sort of reward happening, but nothing's really happening in real life, and I'm just getting that pleasure. That's what keeps me there. That's what just keeps you in the massage chair, just oh damn, this shit feels good, you know? So I was just yeah, there's a ton of places where you're just nah, you gotta do less of that. Just Instagram, obviously, that's another one. You're just on the explore page, oh my god, it's sometimes just stop yourself when you're even looking and be this isn't contributing to the purpose right now.
Right.
Let me just close this up, go get on my laptop and finish that thing that I actually like doing too, you know? But I'm just distracted. Yeah, we just have so much access to that dopamine, you know, dopamine we can't find in nature. almost can't find in nature. That's why I love surfing, because I feel like that's the only place it is. But like, there's all these like just super accentuated. Yeah, we're just getting too much of it, and I was getting too much of it. So I was like, yeah, let's tone that down and let's like focus in on right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it centered around like, cause when I think about that, like knowing you, I've known you for so long. It's been 10 years. I've been like so lucky to kind of just even watch your growth as a human and as an individual creative person.
Yeah.
And so like had a front row seat. Right. And I think that like you've been so prolific at like learning new skills and then becoming elite at said new skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like mind boggling. And so I think that like for someone like you to kind of even, you're prolific at learning new shit and applying yourself and gaining the knowledge, gaining the wisdom, gaining the skill, putting it in your tool bag, and then like moving forward. So it's like you must have identified something between that pleasure purpose thing where you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
There's like, the purpose is with the learning new skills and challenging myself, because at the same time, when you like when we met, you were a photographer and you were fucking 16.
Yeah. Earlier, I think I was
15,
14 or 15.
14, 15.
I was 14, about to turn 15 when I met y'all.
Yeah, I'll never forget, man. I was like,
that shit's crazy.
I came to, where was that? I picked you up from high school.
Yeah, Rancho Dominguez in Carson.
Yeah, shout out them.
Shout out to Rancho Dominguez in Carson, man. Nolan picked me up from school. Motherfuckers was probably like, is this legal?
It sounds like kind of pedo and weird, but Brick is just the homie. You know?
I was just a homie, like kicking it with grown ass adults. Like I was like, bro, we on a mission.
We grinded.
Like we gotta get these day in the life vlogs up, like 2012 when people still watched YouTube and stuff.
Yeah. So you were and like obviously you had that in the tool bag, like the photography and the videography at the time, and you immediately like were like applying that, like working with a bunch of cool people, identifying talent, identifying creative people you wanted to collaborate with. And then like I'll go over the timeline, and then obviously we can kind of zoom in on some of the like different skills. But then like probably 2 years later, you start picking up DJing, and I remember you got your DJ controller.
Yeah. Shout out SK4MC on the record. SK gave me my first mixer ever, and it was like some movie vibes. Like it was literally like, I remember we were at his crib in North Hollywood. In my mind, I'm like, I'm hanging out with adults right now. Like that was what that setting was for me. I was like, damn, I got friends that's grown up. This fool got a house. My friends just drove here. I don't even know where I'm at. I'm from LA, and I ain't never been to North Hollywood until I was like rolling with y'all and stuff. You know what I mean? So I remember I'm up there. I'm in his back house. He's cooking in his kitchen. Like he had like a little back house situation where he had a little studio in and stuff. And yeah, I remember I literally seen he had like just the little cheapo $120 Guitar Center mixer, like little DDJ, like plugging in the computer USB joint. And I was like, dang, what's that? Literally, like, it just caught my eye. Like I'm telling you, on some movie shit is on the top rack. I remember being like, dang, can I play with that? And he was like, oh, yeah, for sure. And he grabbed it off the top, set it down, plugged it into the computer, turned on Serato, and he was like, yeah, mess around with it. I'm just literally there like, like straight up. Like, it's literally, in my mind, it was a movie. And then I remember I thanked him afterwards, and then he was like, yeah, next time just take it with you. I was like, no way. And then I was like, Mom, this dude's gonna give me a DJ mixer. And then I started DJing off of my desktop at the crib in Carson. After he gave me the mixer, I just started putting the mixes together. I was on early SoundCloud, like downloaded stuff, just doing mixes. And what was the other thing? I remember my first DJ gig, I DJ'd off my desktop. I DJ'd off the desktop.
What was
I had
it?
the big ass iMac desktop.
Yeah.
I remember pulling up to a Rare Panther event like 2014 or so. Paulo and VJ and all those dudes.
Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie. Wow, that's rare. Reginald Sylvester is an icon.
Yeah.
But I pulled up to the Rare Panther event and DJ'd off of my desktop, bro. I pulled up with my iMac in the box.
Yeah, I
and
remember
my
you used to move
mixer
around like that.
and popped that shit in
Wait,
the
didn't
club. Motherfuckers was like, bro, did you just show up to the club with a desktop? I wasn't even thinking about it like that. I was just like, yeah, I got a DJ.
No, I remember that. You treated that fucking desktop like it was a damn laptop. You would put it back in the box.
I would put it back in the box and the foam and everything and just carry that bitch everywhere. I brought that bitch. I had that shit on the Blue Line train, bro, from Carson to downtown Los Angeles.
That's right.
I used to just hide it the whole time.
That's right.
I had a whole desktop, bro. Like, mobbing around there. That's how badly I wanted it. And I didn't even realize I wanted it that bad. I just wanted it. And that's why I was doing shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, yeah, whatever, dude. It's like,
you said something, though. You said you were like, damn, I'm hanging out with, like, real adults right now. But, like, being an adult hanging out with you when you were a kid, you didn't act like you were a kid. You kind of just, like, fit in. And, like, we would even clown you about being a kid, but you wouldn't really even accept it.
No.
So the fact that was going through your head, but you were like, okay, like, I know I'm a fucking kid right now.
No, I knew I was a kid, but I also knew I wasn't about to let nobody treat me like a kid because I know I'm about to come up in this bitch and add some value. I knew it. I'm telling you, I knew it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like I know what I'm doing, and I know that they're gonna try to little bro me so hard, so I gotta be extra chest up because I'm little bro. Like I had little man syndrome, literally. Like, but it was like a defense mechanism, and I honestly feel like it worked. It definitely, I tarnished a couple of relationships along the way. That were recovered, you know, just through being such a young chest up, you know, like little bro motherfucker's gonna try and slap you on the back of the head and shit. And that doesn't, you don't have to be somebody's little brother. That's just when you're new anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you gotta pay your respects to some degree. So it's like, yeah, just do good work and don't take nobody's shit. It's like that was kind of what I was on. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna demand my respect because I'm just gonna earn it. Like I'm gonna just do good work and I'm gonna just work hard and I got this vision, I got this idea, and I just want to show it. I just want to be like, look, do some new thing and be like, look, like you know what I mean? Like that was how I was approaching it. Yeah. So I was just like, man, yeah, I want to hang with the big dogs. Like that's how I felt at that time. But it's crazy that I was like 14, 15, and that was already 10 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Do you remember like how old you were when you first got like your DJ controller? Because it's kind of a blur to me. I feel like
it's a little bit of a blur, but I'm pretty sure that was 2013, late 2013, early 2014, first DJ mixer. Yeah, because 2014 we went on the Watsky tour.
And that was your first tour?
It was definitely 20.
That was your first tour DJing?
That was my first tour DJing. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, late 2014.
Were you still DJing off
17 years old?
Were you still DJing off the desktop at the time? Maybe.
No,
you had a laptop.
I was using Kyle's Pikachu laptop.
Oh, that's right.
It was his laptop.
Yeah.
I was DJing off his laptop every night. Like downloading my whole sets on his laptop. Like.
That's right.
Yeah, grimy. But it was sick though, and yeah, I mean, that's epic times in my timeline of life. You know, to a random person listening, it's like, okay, cool story, bro. But to me, I'm like, damn. Those were some times.
I remember having a conversation with you too because you've always like been so assertive too. Like even kind of you understanding that you were gonna provide value, you understanding that like you had skills, you had something to offer. Even the way you brought your ideas to life. It's like there's a lot of people that are like creative and have ideas and have convictions and see things, and like you've always been really good at being like, I'll show you the camera. This is my vision for the thing, or I'll show you the Photoshop file. Like I have this idea. Okay, it's gonna look like this. Like you would take a little time explaining it, but then you'd just be like, just let me show you really quick, and then you'd bring ideas to life. And I think that's you've manifested shit like that throughout every stage of your life. But I remember early on when we were talking about the DJ shit, and I remember kind of being like, I was like, in the music business, you have to participate in the copyrights. I was like, you got to learn to produce. You got to make these records. Thanks. You got to make beats. And I remember like, and I don't even want to take credit for it because obviously you're assertive and you're moving the way you need to move. But I remember like there was one point in time where you were like, when you started learning to produce, that was like another wave.
Yeah, learning to produce, and that came from DJing.
Yeah.
Like after that Watsky tour, Watsky's a rapper, by the way, y'all, for those who don't know. He's a white rapper. He raps really fast. But we were on tour with him in 2014. But during that tour, which was my first tour, I was 17 years old, 42 city tour, going around the nation in a white 15 passenger van with 4 of us total, me, Kyle, Jesus, and Max, the OGTB. And but yeah, during that tour, what were we talking about?
Learning to produce.
Producing, yeah. So during that tour, I was playing these songs every night, and I was just like, I want to play my own beats here. And then also, side note, even before that tour was when I went on tour with this EDM artist named Brills, and I was doing his videos. I was doing his like day in the life videos. So I went to like every single EDM festival that summer of 2014, and I'm 17 years old at all these EDM festivals, totally underage. Total just like I'm seeing sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I was just doing the videos though, you know what I mean? So, but I'm watching all these dudes playing on these gigantic stages designed like a dragon on a ship and all this other shit and these lasers and lights and fire, and they're just playing beats. And I was like, that was kind of my first spark. And I would see Brills like preparing like little edits and stuff before the show and stuff. And then I was like, okay, word. And then when I went on tour and I was just playing all those things, I was like, dude, I want to play my own stuff. So then after that, I started to produce. I started to try to produce once I got back. And that's when I like met Nas / AO, some know him either or, but that dude literally like rolled everything out for me. Because I had asked a few people, I'm not going to say no names, but I'd asked a couple people beforehand, like, for some like ends on producing, like, hey, what do I get? What do I download? And they kind of just like, YouTube it, nigga. I mean, sorry, YouTube it, bro.
Yeah.
But and I was like, okay. But Nas was the first dude to literally be like, okay, download this. Now get this. Here, look, turn your AirDrop on. I'm gonna give you all these drums. I'm gonna give you all these sounds. This is how you do it. This is the metronome, like literally the basics, like the ABCs of it. And from there, yeah, it was like, I was like, cool, word. Like when I see something when I've decided I want to do this, it's done basically. So once he gave me all of that, I was like, word. And I just, man, like literally 6 hours a day at least, like for a long time, I was just making beats. I mean, probably more.
Yeah.
Making beats all day.
No, I remember.
Making beats all day. Making beats all day.
In the living room.
Yeah. And then at that time, I also just had a different perspective on producing and what it could bring, you know? Like at the time, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be Metro Boomin or Skrillex or something, you know what I mean? And I was looking at it in a different way than I do now, because now I really just use it as like a tool or a meditative practice, something that I can just do when I really have something I'm feeling and I want to get it off. I come to it every month or a few weeks or so. I don't really like do it how I used to, but because in the time between, I mean, shoot, bro, shortly after starting to produce, it hadn't been 2 years, and then just through working with AL, Nas a lot, and soaking up all the game, and him also just giving me all the game, and other just incredible mentors is like the thing that I was blessed with. Like I'm looking at Axel Foley, a legend in my eyes.
Absolutely.
For anybody
Shout
who
out
doesn't
Axel.
know, he produced like Collard Greens for Kendrick and Mad City and just a ton of stuff. The list really goes on. All the classic Overdose stuff, the list goes on. THC. But yeah, like I got dudes like that I'm already looking at like, yo, you're a legend in my eyes. And I'm like looking at his laptop. So I'm just like looking at his programs. I'm like looking at how he's doing stuff. So I had the illest mentors. But shortly after that, we had a really big song. And that definitely changed the fabric of a lot of everything. Because then we were like, oh, wow, you can make money doing this stuff?
Yeah.
And then that is bittersweet as it gets for music.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah,
What part of it?
what
Part of it?
What part of like...
What is the bittersweet part?
The sweet part is you can make money off of it. The bitter part is not really. Yeah. So like we had that sweet part really early. I'm like, dude, I'm 2 years into producing. I Spy is, 6 times platinum, 6 million copies sold worldwide.
Yeah.
Like the number 2 song, it was like it's such a underwhelming to say. It's the number 2 song in the world at one point. Like,
Yeah.
but it was like number 2 on Billboard. I think that's where it peaked. It went number 1 on the hip hop chart. But and even just me playing a small role in that, I didn't produce that whole song. That was like Nas's thing. Like, I made a small contribution to that song, but even still changed my life. You know what I mean?
All of our lives.
And all of our lives, everybody's lives, and especially because what we were doing was just such a passion project, and everybody just genuinely loved it. That was definitely like a payoff moment for all of us who just been going hard at it, and but also it changed the way I was producing, because like I was originally just producing. I was like, I just want to make stuff to play live, and like it was just fun to me. It just became fun to me, so I was just doing whatever. But then after that, then I felt my brain go into this mode where it's like, okay, there's a structure here. There's a formula. This is how you do it. Like, it became more science and less art. And that is a slippery slope for music, at least for what I think music is for, which is like healing ultimately is what it's supposed to be for. But yeah, that's a slippery slope. And but I still continue to produce. And I still was having fun with it. I continue to do it. As long as I'm having fun, I'm going to keep doing it. So I just started expecting less out of it, obviously, because we hit such a high milestone so early in the journey, you know?
Your involvement on I Spy, though, I think is like, it was really telling even how you're like, you play a really important role in the record in becoming like, you're kind of the glue to it, 100%. Right?
It was just like, putting people together, hearing the shit, being like, those 808s ain't it. We should try it again. We should get bro in here, try new shit out, try new stuff out. I'm trying to stop cussing.
No. I just, for yourself.
But yeah, dude, like, that was like that's a producer role, in my opinion. It was like literally being able to see the big picture on anything that it is. It doesn't have to be a song, and just being like, how could this be better? Or this could be better. And also coming with a solution.
Exactly.
Not just being like, yeah, it's whatever. Because you got those people, and then you're like, all right, bro, bet.
It's
you know, but it's like, if you can come with a solution and then prove it, it's like, all right, well, you were right. It's
I think
that's
something that, that was something that we were always pretty, like, privy to, was just, like, making sure we, like, had solutions. It's like, okay, you don't like it.
But why?
Sit with it for a second and then give a solution that is potentially better, because then your idea is on the chopping block to be critiqued as well, right? It's not just I don't like it or whatever. I don't like the direction.
And then also, that conversation doesn't even matter anymore, bro. Stop over analyzing everything.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no point even over analyzing things to that degree anymore. I feel like even at that time, 2014, 15, 16 or whatever, it was like people were still engaged in the overall experience. But now it's just like, so like, what is the word? It's just like disposable. Like,
yeah.
We're just like, oh, cool.
I want to get into that, but I want to kind of go back really quick just to this I Spy experience, because so you kind of playing this important role as this glue guy, creative person, director, producer, in the room, tastemaker with like Ao and Kyle and people who trust you, trust your ear, trust your vision. That obviously wasn't the first time that you played that role. And I think that like your experience in the music business, especially wearing all these different hats, like now with clarity, kind of looking back on the moment, obviously when you're in it, it's like this different experience where you're probably going, when is it going to be my turn? When am I going to get my just due? When is it going to work?
Yeah. It's
like frustrating and it's long, but I think that that's such a cool role to play. And, you know, it's like even me, like I want to be that guy for people, to like be supportive, help them creatively, support them creatively, give them good ideas, contribute to the ideas, produce the ideas, help them bring to life. Because it's like, but everybody thinks like, oh, well, I'm not doing that unless I'm getting paid, like off rip, or like,
exactly.
And you can block yourself from like, I mean, it's countless the amount of times prior to that thing happening, where it's countless to the amount of times prior to that thing happening where you probably played roles like that,
bro.
You know,
you kidding me? Like, I came in this like, bro, I don't need $1. I literally just want to help y'all. I was a fan. I was genuinely just a fan. I was on the internet. I already seen Kyle's stuff, and I was like, I'm a fan of this. Like, and I was like, I know I can add to this, and I just want to. And I was also aware, like, this is a platform completely. It's like, I'm not going to come in here and be like, oh, I want to help you for this price. There's situations where that makes sense. You know, if you're working with a corporation, go for it. Get the bag at all costs. That's where you get the bag at. But when you're trying to build something with the homies, or there's certain times where you just got to use good judgment and be like, I'm going to look out. This makes sense, and it aligns with what I want for myself. So I'm going to just do this until it doesn't make sense anymore at the very worst. And if tomorrow it's not making sense anymore, so be it. But if I'm here 2 years deep and I'm like, I still believe in this, keep going. It's like, you know what I mean? I just think like, and that was my approach to it. I was just like not really necessarily worried about the immediate return on investment of time or money or whatever it was, you know? And even still to this day with everything I do, even with surfing, whatever it is, it's like, there's not some sort of like immediate return. There's not like this thing that just like, you do this, you get this back. It's like, you just do it. You do it if you love it, and you just keep doing it. And if it's not working yet, just maybe keep doing it a little bit more. And like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and that was like, that was really my approach early on. I was just like, from the jump, from a young age, I knew that. I was like, dude, like,
yeah, yeah. You were. I remember like even your experience with it. It's like you were so talented at such a young age, and like, you know, there was this level of like you knowing that, and also like probably going like, fuck, like I want this to work. This needs, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think at this end of the day, it's like you did keep your head down and grind it. And it's like funny because it's like simultaneously it works for everybody. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like it's hard to have that true perspective when you're like in the eye of the storm, kind of going, is this worth it? You know, it's really challenging on all of us. I remember it was really challenging, but I look back and I'm like, dude, that was that was the fruit right there. You know,
That was it. That was
even
why
all
it worked.
the little like dynamics, the challenging parts of it, I'm kind of like, yeah, but that was just like that
Yeah.
was the thing, you know. And you have such an amazing eye for talent, and like you mentioned, like seeing Kyle early, and like I want to know, like even at that age, I felt like you have historically been like such an amazing like A&R with talent. Like you see things before they happen so often, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
like know the thing. I'm kind of curious. I want to even hear your thought about like Kyle when you first were like hip to Kyle's music and saw that happen, or like what drew you to it at first.
I think it's just like you can tell whenever a person is just truly being themselves.
By the way, this is the 14-year-old you,
This is the 14-year-old me.
or
But
fucking A. Yes, love
yeah,
it.
the 14, 13, 14-year-old me. I just know when somebody's being themselves. I feel like I think that that's really what it comes down to, and that's why like I even try to lean into all of my own flaws or whatever I might identify as a flaw in myself is actually probably my superpower and the thing that other people may like, you know, just like be like wow about. And I think like that's what I see in other people. It's like I can just watch and be like, wow, that person is really just telling their story. I can tell they went through that. Like I didn't experience it, but I can tell that they really did. And then with Kyle's music in particular, especially at that time in my life, dude, I grew up like I was like a pretty just chubby, unathletic, like I wasn't cool. I didn't have like cool clothes. I rode BMX, but I sucked in comparison to other people I rode with. I used to dance, but I sucked in comparison to everybody I danced with. Like I was never like good at something, you know what I mean? Like I always just had my own little strange interests. So Kyle is why I identified with him, you know, and I feel like a lot of people did that felt that same way where we're like, yeah, there's not really a place for us. It was like such like a land of the misfits, you feel me? And like that was what made it so special. And I was like, oh yeah, this dude is completely leaning into all the things that he's probably getting made fun of about. His teeth are super fucked up and he's just talking about it. You know what I mean? He's like nerdy video game dude. So at that time, especially like 14 years old, I was like, yo, there's nobody doing this. You know what I mean? Like this is the only guy who's just fully owning up to all the most uncool shit about what we've in regards to what our culture has defined as cool. He was like the literal opposite. the full opposite, not the like, oh, I'm trying to cool guy be the opposite. Like, it's like, nah, this is who this dude really is. You know what I mean? So that was what I seen in him. It was just like inspiring. I just identified with it, and that's what any great artist does. Is like they go so deep into themselves, and they go like, here it all is, as vulnerable as it may make them. Then they realize all these people come rising like, wait, me too, and me, and me, and me, and I'm like that. And wait, I thought I was the only one. You know what I mean? That's why it's like NBA YoungBoy is lit, because there's a bunch of motherfuckers with that energy walking around who are like, I felt every word he said. Like, you know what I mean? And that goes for anybody. If you're Jack Johnson, if you're NBA YoungBoy, if you're Kyle, if you're Drake, whoever you are, you know what I mean? I think that the thing that we admire in any artist is like that vulnerability, where we can like, where it's like they're holding the mirror up to us, like, wow, I didn't even know how to put it into words, and there it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I feel like I've always seen in just anybody. Even if they're not putting the mirror up to me, I can tell when somebody's holding the mirror up. And even if I'm not seeing myself in it, I'm like, damn, I appreciate that. Like, you know what I mean? Whoever it is, like, it doesn't, like, I don't have to directly identify with it to be like, yeah, I can tell they're deep in somewhere, and they've experienced something, and they just put it all out there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That vulnerability is scary as an artist. Even me, I just drop songs from time to time. I don't take it super seriously. I just do it therapeutically, and then I share it if it makes sense. But
is that something that you've like tapped into within your own writing process?
100%. I'm just like, anytime I only write a song when I'm really going through something. I don't like make music every day. I'm not like on some like, you know, make 1,000 and one's gonna work. I'm like literally like, I kind of need trauma in my life. I need like some type of tragedy to like really write. I know it's super toxic. It's very Pisces of me, but
I like that though.
But that's what I pull from, because I'd be like, that's when I'm feeling the most intensely. That's when the colors are the most vivid to me, and I'm like, cool, I can paint with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like in those traumatic moments, they sort of bring out everything else that is you. And that's what leads up to a traumatic moment. It's like all these things that are you, this is what made this be a traumatizing thing to you. Because something that's traumatizing to you might not be traumatizing to the next person who already been through that. That's already a part of the fabric of things that made them up. So when this happens, it's not traumatic to them, you know, like whatever it is. So that's why, like, when I'm like, okay, boom, it's like I'm bleeding right now. Like this is the ink. You got to put this shit all over here, and like, there we go. That's me. I'm on this. It couldn't be more me than that, you know?
Yeah.
So
I've heard somebody say something like every great artist has like that one song where if like you cut them open, they like bleed, whatever that song is.
Yeah.
What song is that for you in your own catalog? And then I want to ask you about Kyle too. Like, what song do you think that's for Kyle? Because I think what you just pointed at right now was like really powerful for me, because it's like, obviously I've been there every step of the way or whatever, but it's just nice when someone has like a little bit different of an angle and they're looking at something a little differently and stuff. It's like
100%. I mean, well, I don't really have the songs that are me bleeding. They're not out because I'm so vulnerable about them. So like, they're honestly just on my laptop. But of the songs I have out, Safe and Warm, if you really dive into it, which I think that song is classic. I think it's timeless. I think that it'll make even more sense in 20 years, 30 years, because it is so everything that is me. Like, every single word in there was just so, like, true to what I was going through. And when I finished that song, it literally felt like I was, like, free. I just remember feeling like I was in a cloud. I played it probably 100 times because I was just like, wow, this is me, like, personified into a MP3 file. Like, this is everything that I'm going through. I'll be able to play this when I'm 80 and literally be like, wow, I remember that. I know exactly what I was feeling when I made that. And it's like a time machine, you know? So, and then even with the video, I kind of just got a little freaky with the video, but go play Safe and Warm, y'all. It's really a cozy song about being 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but like knowing where your heart really is. Like, that song it means a lot to me. So
that's like another great example of you like executing creatively, like at a really high level, multidisciplinary.
Yeah,
you know,
I love that video. It's one of the best videos of the year, but nobody saw it.
It's incredible. It's so good. Nah, it's so good. It really is. It's amazing. you and I have talked a lot about it. I even remember, and you said that. So some of the songs. Okay, really quick. What's before I forget? What Kyle song? What if you cut Kyle open? In your opinion, what song comes out?
That's actually a funny question. If I cut Kyle open, what song would come out of Kyle? I don't know. I was gonna say one that I wrote because it was me, but he used to have this song called fuck, what was it? I Thought We Were Niggas. That's a classic. That song is so good. For some reason, it just felt real. I don't even think he was going through that shit, but I think he channeled it from a different time in his life. It was about a girl. I Thought We Were Niggas was such a funny title for us. But it was like a SoundCloud jam that he had.
Yeah, I remember.
It was like a little like airy piano. I mean, not piano, guitar. It sounded like some XXX Tentacion like crying like on the guitar type of joint. But yeah, that song was one of them ones. It has a feeling encapsulated in it that it's the first one I think of when I think about songs that feel like something.
That's awesome. So we started talking about like you were talking about the bittersweetness of making music and like making money off of it, and then just how, and then also overthinking the process of like being hypercritical about what's coming out and when it's coming out and how it's coming out. How has your mind changed about all that, and how are you approaching that now? Because I know even prior to your release, like you and I talked deeply about it, because I was just like, yo, like this shit is just like so non-linear right now. It's like really hard to like control an audience. And I think this even goes back to like the dopamine shit we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation. But I just want to hear you kind of talk about like where you think even the music industry is currently at and where it's going. And
the music industry is for business people, not musicians. I feel pretty indifferently about it. I try not to like. I don't really give it any energy, to be honest. I'm just at such a point where I'm like, I'm honestly just focused on Ebony Beach Club because it's proven to be something purposeful and bigger than myself, and it ultimately like fulfills my soul, and it gives me back everything that I give to it, and just through the people, through the actual act of surfing itself, the dance of surfing, if you will, and the beach, it being in cold water every morning, it just, something about it is just like, that's everything to me. So the music industry is just like a byproduct of the music that I make now. I don't really think about the music industry.
Right,
I'm not trying to go to meet up with A&Rs and like get in the room on this and that. Like maybe at some point in the future I'll get back into that being my focus, but the music industry feels very selfish, and it can make you self-loathe too. Like you just start to like hate yourself or feel like less than the next person. You're like, well, how come Tay Keith is getting all the placements? You're like, well, because he's Tay Keith.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't make you not Brick. You're still Brick. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. Like you could go, the list goes on. You could say that all day about every single artist, producer, whatever.
It's a super zero-sum game. Like
it's
it
a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
That part. And so that's why like I have no opinions on the music industry anymore. I'm just like,
yeah, it
just is what it is. I understand I'm not really going to make any money off my music. I understand people are going to try and like finesse me for a couple % on a song that's not going to make money anyways. So I'm like, keep it, bro. You're arguing about 5% extra here. Take it. I don't care. What does that even equate to at this point in time? Like $800?
Right.
Maybe if we're lucky. If the song gets some streams, it might not even get streams. Even if the song gets 100 million streams, even if the song gets 100 million streams, and you have a whole 50% of that song, I don't even want to go into this, but
yeah, we don't do public math, but it's something like not as much money as you think it should be, and like you might be way more famous than
you think that it means something.
Right.
It doesn't mean almost anything. The only thing that means something is the song. So if you're in the song business for business, just go to the business part. Go get a job at a label. That's your guaranteed money right there. Make music on the side.
Yeah.
but making songs to try and make a living, it is just such a dark road. I'm sorry, I'm such a pessimist about it.
No.
It's just like I feel so bad every time somebody comes up to me like, "Yo, Brick, I'm like thinking about starting producing." I'm like, "Don't do it, don't do it unless you love the way it makes you feel, and that's the only thing you care about. Don't do it if
I
you want to make money."
Right.
Literally, I'm sorry, but it's just like, or find a better angle. That's the other option. It's like, stop trying to give beats to rappers. Rappers are poor. I'm sorry. Rappers don't have money like that. They don't. Go to the movie industry. Go get some syncs. Go like take a different angle. Like whatever it is, making beats for rappers, bro, is a dark road. On the record. But you can make money off of it. I'm not going to say you can't, but it's a dark road.
Right. So like I saw you tweeted something where you were like,
I'm a pessimist. I'm such a pessimist about this shit. You shouldn't even have me on camera talking about this.
Honestly, though, no, I think it's the reason why I think it's valuable is I think that people don't understand what they're getting into or the way something looks. They don't understand what it actually is. So I think I think the education is really important. Now, like we were crazy motherfuckers where it didn't matter what the fuck you told us. Yeah. We were going to go figure it the fuck out. And we did it.
And that's who it's for. That's what I'm saying. It's for the people who are just like, well, bro, cool. I don't care. I just want to do it because I love to do it. And I'm like, you got to just love to do it.
You got to love it.
But if you're in it to be like, I'm trying to get my first $1 million deal. Oh, I heard the homie got a $75,000 publishing deal. Or, well, bro.
Yeah.
What is $75,000 to you? Is it worth your entire livelihood?
Right.
If so, there's easier ways to make that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying is just like, yeah, we can hustle so hard and not get much out of it. I don't want to sound like a salty old dude or nothing either, because I'm not salty. I guess I just found my passion in a different place. I love making beats and I still do it, but it's literally a hobby to me. It's like going on a run or something. I'm not like, what do I get out of this run? Am I ever going to get paid for this? Like, I'm like, just do it because it's fun.
You do it for its own
and
sake.
And then I know a lot of people, obviously. Like, I know a ton of people. If I end up in the room, like, I was in New York and made something with Smino and Yeba the other day, like a couple weeks ago. And I hadn't been making beats for months. And we just were in the studio and just caught a vibe. I was on the keys. Smino was on the drums. Yeba was singing. And I was like, oh, sick. Like, I didn't even have my laptop. But we just made songs. And that felt good. And we were all just vibing. We were just streaming for like, and they might never come out. And I'm okay with that. I'm not pressing. Yeah. I'm not like, oh, where is that ever going to come? It's just like, dude. And if that happens, then people go, oh my God, you produced that? And I'm like, bro, that was a 10-minute window of my life. Like, I just don't wrap my identity around producing how I did for a while. You know what I mean?
That's such an important distinction, because someone who gets an opportunity like that is probably even thinking like,
this is my world. Like,
oh, fuck. Like, when is this coming out? Like, banging on people's lines and like being attached to it. And I can imagine, like, even for all my homies who are producers, that is like a real frustrating struggle.
100%.
Like, waiting a year and then like the rapper never texting you back and waiting a year for this thing that you think is hot for it to come out, and you need it for your livelihood.
In your mind, you're seeing all the possibilities of what it can be, and like, oh my God, and you're looking at their streams. You're like, damn, if this gets that many streams, and then you're on the Spotify stream calculator, like, and you're like, wow, if this got 100 million streams, I would make $8,000. Like, wow, bro.
Oh,
that's why I'm like, if it happens, it just happens, bro. Like, even do-rag activity, it's so funny to me, and I really mean this, and like, I never want to come across like I'm above something or like arrogant or anything, because I'm not. I just don't care. I don't care like that. Like, about like the optics of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I made the beat because I liked the beat. I was bored that day, and I was like on my laptop, and I made a beat. Big whoop. It's not like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh yeah, this is, like I said, it's like going on a run for me. So
when
something like that, like do-rag activity goes and like ends up in the hands of Baby Keem or whatever, and then he records a song to it. I wasn't even there when he recorded it. I didn't send him the beat. I mean, I did send him the beat, but I didn't make it like, oh, use this. I just played it on my Instagram story like I always do, like just knocking my head to beats I'm making. And he was like, yo, send me this. Or no, he was like, oh, this fire or whatever. And I just texted it to him. And then literally next day he was like, come to the studio. I want to play this for you. And then he played it. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. I actually had some notes for it, but he didn't listen. But I'm like, because I'm just like, I want this to be the best thing it can be. And it's a good song. For sure. It's a great song. It's like, that shit, man, I play it everywhere I DJ, basically. But I say all that to say, like, that's not like a defining moment of life for me. That's not livelihood. It does contribute, and I feel like it definitely it changes the perception around you, and if for whatever that's worth to you. But I just think like, make music if you like making music.
What I see you pointing at though too is you've dropped a lot of your identity around like the success of certain things happening. But like when I saw the do-rag activity thing happen, I was so like that's so exciting and so thrilling.
It's exciting.
You know, having a, you know, because there's a lot of things that got to line up. The stars have to align in a certain way. It's like when you met Keem, he wasn't big yet. It was still super early.
Like 2,000 followers.
Yeah, it was still early, and this was another. Like, you're also really good at going to where the puck is going. You see the thing, like what you pointed out in Kyle earlier, when you were like, yo, I relate to this, I'm passionate about this, I get this. And then being a creative person who wants to help, you go and contribute. You know what I mean? And then it turns into something.
I just want to contribute. I just want to leave things better than I found them. And that's obviously subjective too, because people could be like, "Yeah, this was better before you got here." But in my mind, I'm like, "Oh wow, that's dope." Like, damn, what if I could like this, or like, I just do that for my friends and just people I love. Like, I'm just literally like, what ifing their whole shit. Like, damn, what if you take that, run with it. I don't want any credit. Forget I even told you. I just want to see it manifest. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I just want things to be better. I want everything to just be better, which again is subjective. But, and I just want to like do things that feed my soul, and that's why I've been surfing, because it feeds my soul and it doesn't like require anything of me besides showing up. So you just got to get here. You get here in the morning, and you can surf, and that's beautiful. That is freedom, bro. Like, and I still even like don't want to wrap my identity around that, but it's contributed to so much of who I am now that like naturally it has. And obviously we're leading the Black Beach revolution, renaissance, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's a movement. It's a huge movement of, you know, we're renewing the socioeconomic equity that is long overdue for just black people in the beach space as a whole, because there's just no brands that represent us. There's no people that have really represented us. They're few and far between, but they do exist. But it was never we never got to see it. We just didn't have access to pools and beaches. So it's just like, to be at the forefront of that, now that feels like fulfilling. That's something where it's like, I don't have to get paid. Like, I literally am just like, dude, I'm doing these beach bounces. We're losing money and or breaking even every single time. Like, and if that's how it is for the rest of forever, I'm totally okay with that, because it's like what this has become for the people that are showing up and just hearing how people like are like, wow, this is a healing space for me, or, oh, I just came from the East Coast and like I don't know anybody and I'm just coming here and I just never knew that there was this culture. I'm like, because there wasn't. This is like happening in real time. So to watch like this culture be born, that is way more enriching than like publishing or like, you know what I mean? like trying to like get placements and stuff like that. So that's why like I'm so in that mode. And again, I don't mean to trash producing, because I loved producing and I still like it.
Yeah, I think you're just being honest with how hard it is and how and how
it hurt me.
Yeah,
I'm hurt. I'm speaking from a place of hurt. It hurt me for sure. Like, it was definitely like how much energy I put into it. It's like there's just nothing is promised in it. So it's just like, you know, you're just blindly throwing darts at a wall. Essentially, you can't actually control the outcome to any degree. Like, I know like we can take somebody to the ocean and give them a wetsuit and a board, and they can learn how to surf, and then they're going to talk about it, and they're going to post about it, and they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to say I surfed, and it's going to mean something to them, and they're going to have that experience, and it's going to resonate when they have kids one day. They now know that they can, and they, you know what I mean? Like that to me, when I think about it that deep, that I'm like, damn, that's truly invaluable. Like making a beat doesn't even feel that valuable to me. That's why I always feel very indifferent when people like congratulate me about a song. Like, yo, you did do activity? Oh my God. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just a beat.
Yeah.
But also, I can't minimize the experience that said person may have had with it.
Yeah.
You know, like Michael Jackson, that's not just music, bro.
Right.
Like those songs, like I Can't Help It, that's not just a song. Butterflies, that's way deeper than just, oh, it's just a song. Like if he was telling me like, oh, it's just a song, whatever.
Well, even the experience of you talking about writing Safe and Warm,
yeah,
like,
but that's why I like writing. That's why I feel very indifferent about beats because it's like kind of voiceless.
got it.
Just like
got it.
A beat.
Yeah.
Know? Writing is powerful. It's very powerful.
Right.
That's actually the best. That's the best way to end it.
What you're doing with Ebony Beach Club is just so sick and so important, and something like growing up on the beach, something that I've like obviously seen like a gaping hole, you know,
Pause.
with that. Like
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
It's like a massive gap, super deep hole. Merch is like dying. You can't see him on camera right now, but
God. All right.
We might need to just take a break. Now, after that, we're going to commercial. Straight to a deep commercial.
A gaping hole. You could have said anything, bro.
Fuck.
Oh my God, that was funny as hell. I'm sorry.
I don't even know where to go from here.
I didn't even resist. That was fucking hilarious, bro.
Pause.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. Yo, it would have been funny if Merch would have said that too. Like, hey, yo.
Hey, yo. Yo, that's hilarious, bro. That was really funny, dude.
Okay.
Really funny. It's like a gaping hole. Like, you could have said anything else.
Just not that.
I'm sweating because that was so funny, bro. What the hell? That was hilarious to me. That's like literally right up my alley of humor.
I don't even know where to go from here. I don't know where to go. Okay. Well, let's just talk about Ebony Beach Club a little bit.
Let's talk about it.
Now I'm like thinking about what I'm saying because I feel like that wasn't the first pause-worthy thing I said on so far.
That was one of the craziest ones I've heard in a long time in general. Like I can't tell you the last time somebody said gaping hole for any reason.
No, gaping.
Gaping is just so intense. Anyways,
I don't even know what to say to you anymore.
Ebony Beach Club. We can talk about it. What would you like to know about Ebony Beach Club, Nolan?
I just feel like I know all the shit, and I want to keep it interesting to me. So I'm like wondering if I do want to talk about it because I think you've derived purpose from that, right?
Absolutely.
And you, even just comparing it to some of the music and the creative endeavors that you've been on that have been really purposeful and valuable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is something different, right? And I think it's cool because it's also like a new space to you.
Yeah, it's totally new. I'm totally in the surf and beach, totally in the beach and surf space as a newcomer, as I call it the uninfluenced approach, because I'm like I came in here knowing nothing. like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it's like you were seeing all the skaters and how they dressed, or you know, you always saw like what the older dudes were wearing or whatever, and or how certain people act in certain spaces. Like, you're like, okay, well, that's how I'm supposed to act when I'm at work, and this is how I'm supposed to act when I'm with the homies. This is how I act when I'm at church. Surf, I don't know anything about surfing prior to me surfing. Never heard anything about it. Never talked about it. Never knew anybody who did it. Never watched it or subscribed to it in any capacity. Like, it's brand new to me. Surf was invented in like 2020 in my mind, like, which is when I started, which is only 2 short years ago. But a lot has happened because, again, I feel like I had a lot of foresight about it just through experiencing it firsthand. Because when I started going out to surf, I was just like on some, oh, yo, I just got my board. I'm about to just go out. I'm about to start going every day. We in quarantine. I'm a quarantine surfer. It's like the worst thing you could be in the surf community right now. People, oh, yeah, these are COVID surfers. Whatever, bro. Word.
No, surfers.
Look what we're doing.
Surfers look like for a way to just
anti
everything. They're anti everything.
Yeah, and there's some cool dudes out there, but for the most part, yeah. And I can only speak to.
I was
Southern
just thinking that
California,
you're kind of like the soldier boy of surfing.
I'm the soldier boy of surfing. We are swag surfing.
You're
Big
completely
time.
the soldier boy. I just had that popped in my mind, and I was like, I gotta say
Big
that.
time. I can actually. That's valid. I can valid. That's. Nah, because he innovated. That's what he did, and that's what I feel like right now. What I'm trying to do is innovate it, and that's why I understand that me knowing nothing is actually my superpower. I could feel mad insecure that when, like, everybody gets talking about all these pro surfers and all these epic old surf films and all these old shapers, and I'm just like, I don't know those names, and I'm actually okay with that too. You know what I mean? Like, I totally am trying to put this through the lens of my actual experience. You know what I mean? And just unapologetically, like, this is my experience. This is what I've seen. This is what I felt. This is where it hurt. This is where it felt good. Let's solve the problems, and let's do more of the stuff that feels good, and let's share it with the people around us, you know? And to me, it's not like, I think we're just, like, surf culture just doesn't have a space for me. Like, there's not a space in surf culture for me like that. You know what I mean? And
Some might say that there's a gaping hole.
I just don't know. I just don't know if there's a.
One might say that.
Hey, yo.
One might say that.
But yeah, like, there's just not. I like, just from the jump was like, oh yeah, I'm coming out to Manhattan Beach. It's all white dudes out here in black suits. Feel like a funeral, and I'm just me. I never feel included. I never feel like I belong here. And I felt that way my whole life about most things I did. I rode unicycles. I played ice hockey when I was younger. I was fishing. I was riding BMX. Anything I did, I was always just like, all right, bro. I'm the only black kid on the hockey team for 3.5 years that I played. And that was just like, that was something that I accepted. I'm doing white boy stuff. Even my own family would tell me, like, that's some white boy stuff. You know what I mean? So to be in a space doing some white boy stuff once again as an adult, it wasn't new to me, you know, but it was like, this was definitely, like, I would say surf is one of the last safe white spaces. And there's still more. There's still plenty more. But that was like a heavy one because it's like the earth. You know what I mean? It's like imagine being on a hike and they're like, wait, nah. You can't hike here, bro. I'm like, what, bro? This is the ocean. You know what I mean? So, so yeah. So that's why what we're doing, like, just surf culture. Like I said, I think that we're just with Ebony Beach Club. The goal is to, like, dismantle, and not even dismantle, but reimagine surf culture. They can have it. We're, like, fusing surf and culture, our culture, and in turn creating a new surf culture that you don't have to subscribe to because there's different cultures, and that's okay. You know what I mean? We got Little Armenia, we got Leimert Park, we got Chinatown, and you got Santa Monica. It's like everybody everybody's all okay. We're over here. We hang out with the people who make us feel seen, that we identify with, that had similar upbringings and similar struggles. So that's what we're doing, is we're just like creating a space where it's like, oh yeah, all the people who felt that, who felt like, oh dang, I ain't never seen no black person surf. Oh, why you black, you surf, like whatever, everybody who, all these stereotypes that have been just like internalized so deeply into us, passed down from our grandparents to us here now. And all of that was systemic too. That was by design. Reasons why we couldn't go to the public pools up until the late 60s, civil rights movement. We couldn't go to the beaches. They were segregated in most places. And to this day, in a weird way, still are. We could argue that, though. And then, again, everything I'm speaking about, when I talk about surf and when I talk about beaches, I always like to clarify, I'm speaking to the American black beach experience, the mainland American black beach experience. Hawaii has a different story. It's a different dynamic. If you go to Jamaica or you go to St. Vincent, it's a different dynamic. You go to Senegal, it's a different dynamic. What we're experiencing here is a product of the American system that affects us in all aspects of life. But surf is one where we really gotta be like, wait, no, you can't regulate us on this. Like, they'll find all these creative ways to keep us out of areas, and they'll find all these creative ways to keep us in prison. But like, the ocean is where we gotta draw the line and be like, nah, anybody can come here and we could do whatever we want, however we want. We could ride whatever board we want. We could show up with as many people as we want. You're not about to regulate that. You just can't. And there was nobody to say that or do that. And I mean, and there actually, let me take that back. There was, but the numbers were tiny. Like you could damn near count on one hand the amount of black surfers that there are in Southern California 20, 40 years ago. You know what I mean? 50, 60 years ago. So like now, with how explosive this movement has been, just showing up in numbers alone, it gives us some equity again in the conversation of like what surf is. And we no longer have to subscribe to surf culture and do it your way. We can do whatever we want. Because it's like, imagine music without black people. Just think about it. Like, imagine it was like, no, black people aren't allowed to play guitars or pianos. You know what I mean? It was like, we would be experiencing music in a whole different way, and it probably wouldn't be nearly as cool.
Definitely
wouldn't be nearly as cool.
Definitely not.
Imagine what we would have missed out on. You know what I mean? It was like, there was the Negro Leagues at a point in time where black people couldn't even play basketball on the same teams. Like, so when I think about this, I think about it in the 100-year spectrum of like, all right, well, 100 years from now, what is the result of the seed that's being planted today? And how is this? I think surf is going to be a predominantly black sport. That's what I genuinely believe. And it sounds crazy because we're 100 years before it happened. So anything would sound crazy 100 years before it's true.
Yeah, maybe not even that long. But I think the thing that you're touching on, I think, is really, really powerful. As to speak to back to your like your purpose and like the purpose that you're even finding within all this. It's just like you kind of fell into this thing that you realize, holy shit, this is way bigger than me. And now it's like it's almost guiding your steps in a way, because you're just going, okay, you've identified this as like something that like is a calling on you. It's like you fell into it, and it's like, yeah, that's really interesting to me. And I think it's just important and cool, and it's cool that it is you. I think you're such a good storyteller. You're such a good community builder. You're such a good producer. There's a lot of people who will have this idea about said thing, right? It's like, I'm sure you're not the first person who's like had a similar experience, but your ability to share your experience and organize community, it's like you're a community organizer. And I think the beach bounces are like a perfect example of that. It's just like a really dope cultural experience. It's
I mean, I just feel like it's really about, I wanted to put all of myself into telling this story and helping these people in a way that felt organic to me, because I personally wouldn't identify as an activist, although for a point in time, I feel like, especially after the whole racist incident happened to us in Manhattan Beach, you could read about it. But after that happened, it was like everybody's like, so what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And it was like, there was a lot of fear for me too, but I'm pretty fearless But I
That's
feel
interesting.
fear.
That's
you know?
interesting. That's
I'm like scared. It's like, dude, there's so many people to please. Like, it's like even people where maybe they don't hear this podcast, but it's like if they did, they'll just be like, well, that's not true because when we was coming up, it was this, it was that, and then there'd be the white surf dudes like, yeah, this guy's just so, you know what I mean. And then you got your, you know, you're gonna have some Native Hawaiians who are like, wait, but this is that, you know. So everybody's gonna have, especially with surf, it's such a political subject, you know. So me just literally being like, okay, what I'm committed to is the fact that I know I don't know anything, and I'm trying to transparently just like be like, this is my experience. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. We're watching it unfold in real time. The people are essentially writing the story. You know, the people who are showing up. Like me as a solo individual I am not Ebony Beach Club. Ebony Beach Club is the people. It's everybody. You know, that's what makes it. You see it online. You see all these people. That's what it is. You know what I mean? So so I've been just trying to like let go of like all the of like pleasing everybody, because like I said, it's such a touchy subject. It's been done before, but it hasn't been done like this before. So the people who've done it before, like, probably feel away. Like, actually, I know I've heard and had some conversations. Some people don't like the way I'm doing it, and that's okay. And that's been the hardest part, you know, for me. Is
Fuck,
like,
it's like so.
literally being like, dang, I want to please. I actually have everybody's best interest in mind. This isn't an anti-white movement, first of all. It's just a pro-black movement. It's like hey, we got a lot of catching up to do. We got to band together and do it together, you know? You know, it's not an anti-anything movement. It's just like these are the people I speak to. These are the tools. These are gifts I have. I'm a good DJ. I'm a surfer. I like to gather people and speak, but I'm not that great of a speaker. I'm better of a DJ. Let's make this a celebration. That's how we do it. That's what I mean when I say surf and culture. That's how we would think about it. That's how we would approach it. And that's why we approached it that way, you know? So, yeah, bro, I've just been really trying to stay true to myself, even through all the fear and the adversity of like, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? Am I saying this the right way? Even doing this podcast, getting on the record and saying stuff like, just talking about it in general, so vulnerable. Once again, getting back to vulnerability.
I feel the same way.
Like, I feel butt naked when I talk about this stuff, because I'm like, yeah, this is what actually fuels me. And even sometimes I can't even articulate it the way that I actually think of it. So sometimes it's like you say one thing, you're like, dang, I didn't say that the right way. Like, versus what I'm feeling inside the core that makes me do this. It didn't come out the right way. So I'm just like, man, it ain't going to be perfect. You never know what'll happen, dude.
I feel like you're even talking to me with this podcast, because I feel the same way. It's like there's just like so much. Am I saying that the right way?
Yeah.
How does it, you know, do people care? Am I saying this just to hear myself talk? There's like so much, all the bullshit fear and the stuff, and like feeling it and like doing it and doing it anyway. And I think it's so funny because it's like, you know, the LeBron man in the arena thing is real. You know what I mean? I think who is it? It's like Winston Churchill, there's like a Winston Churchill quote where he's just talking about, it's like, it's not about the people like yelling from the cheap seats, essentially. It's, you know, not. Like the people who like have something to say about how you're doing.
But their voices are the loudest, bro. In a room of people cheering for you, some dude going, "This is trash," is the only thing you can hear. You know what I mean? Like you're like instantly, you're like, "Damn, bro, what did I do wrong?" You know, so.
Bro, that's actually so real, because that is actually, I feel like that's social media.
That's everything.
Yeah.
That's just humanity, bro.
It's true. It's like it's even in sports, like when there's the one heckler.
Yeah.
And then the player
that's
talking
who gets
shit
the
to
most
the
attention. It's like, bro,
yeah.
you got a 15,000 people in here who love you, and
wow.
you're getting the one dude who got something to say.
So it's not even social media. It's beyond that. It's humanity.
It's humanity, bro. And that's why I always say focus on the love, not the lack thereof. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, obviously somebody in here don't really love me like that, and that's okay. All these other people do. So it's like, I'm doing this for the people who see this as like, wow, you're doing amazing, and thank you so much for creating this space for us. This is like my healing place. I come here every month. I met my so-and-so here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I surfed for the first time. That's who I'm doing it for, period. As long as there's one person saying that, that's who I'm going to do it for. If there's 2, I'm doing it for those 2. If there's 100, I'm doing it for those 100. I could care less. I don't care what credentials you got, how legit you are, how good of a surfer you are, how much of an OG you are, how much money you got. If it's not love, it's just I'm not hearing it. I'm like, okay, word. I'll listen to you, but I'm not hearing it out. I'm like, dude, I got people to serve who care.
Boom.
You know? So that's who I'm focused on.
Right. And that, I think that purpose is crazy because, like, as soon as you focus on knowing you have people to serve, it reignites that purpose, and then you can deal with the fucking.
Yep.
Like, you can deal with that. Like, hearing one of those, too.
You're
Even
like,
if it pisses you off.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
It's literally part of the game. Like, LeBron ain't never played a game where somebody ain't yelled some bullshit at him. That's just, it's literally a part of the game, bro.
Yeah.
You got to just keep doing your best work and be on your A game and just, you know.
Where do you see the you and I have had like really cool chats about like the future of Ebony Beach Club and stuff, but where do you want to take it? I mean, even just giving you an opportunity to like manifest it through like speaking about it, you know? And
I want Ebony Beach Club to be global in every sense. I want there to be I want to be able to have chapters all over in every beach city, especially the black beach cities. Dakar, Rockaway, New York. There's like a really cool surf scene there. Just the places that I already identify with. I mean, if we're talking about, let me focus on the people once again. The people here. What I really want for Ebony Beach Club, LA, is I want to have a space. First and foremost, ideally in Manhattan Beach, and it's a strange conversation because I'm always like, dang, Manhattan Beach or Inglewood. If I do it in Inglewood or Lamert Park, there's all these open spaces. This is the target demographic, people who don't have a prior knowledge to it and can maybe pass by and see it and feel inspired and go do it. But at the same time, I want to do Manhattan Beach because we're surfing, you know, and we're going to be next to the water. But I want to have a space where people can come and just be a community resource. And it's like, you can come get a board, come get a wetsuit, free rental, just drop your ID off type of thing, take it out, having instructors on call like all day or like just full time, like people who are just there rotating. And then also having like a black surf history sort of like timeline on the wall in the space. And then obviously having the Ebony Beach Club products in there too. But I want it to be like just like a lighthouse. I want to start our first lighthouse here because I feel like that's what's needed, is like a space where we can come and congregate and convene, you know what I mean, before and after surf. Again, like a hub. And so everybody knows if I want to, that's where I can go. Like, I don't have to like, oh, where do I get a board? Where do I get a suit? That's like the number one. It's just destroying the barriers of entry. The barriers of entry being proximity to the beach being the first one. Nobody has real estate near the water. And then the second one is just access to the tools. So if we can eliminate those two things and create a place where it's like, look, we're close to the beach. You can come here. You can post up. We got boards. We got suits. You can go out. That to me is like a major first step. And then again, doing that everywhere is like the goal. Like that's the big picture goal. And then ultimately just creating like experiential things, going on trips. Like the original founder of the original Ebony Beach Club from 1957, Silas White, a part of his ethos was like he was just trying to create a leisure space.
Did it have a different name? Or was it called Ebony Beach Club?
It's called Ebony Beach Club. That's why we are called Ebony Beach Club. It's an homage to the original Ebony Beach Club, which was founded in 1957 in Santa Monica by a black entrepreneur named Silas White. And again, his vision, he had over 2,000 members signed up for it prior to its like official opening. And his vision for it was just like a space for black people to enjoy leisure, enjoy the beach, be able to change in and out of their swimsuits, rent swimsuits. And they had like fishing trips planned, all that type of stuff. And it wasn't too much surfing going on at that time. But the city of Santa Monica, during the permitting process of that building that he had rented in Santa Monica at 1811 Ocean Avenue, city of Santa Monica goes, I think we need this for a civic parking lot. Even though there was 3 empty lots on all 3 sides of the building that he had leased. And they went in a legal battle for like a year and some change, and he lost. They claimed eminent domain on the space. Boom, flattened the building. Ebony Beach Club never officially existed, never officially opened. So, like, to me, that's that is the origin story of what we're doing. It's like it just disappeared. They never put it in the history book. We never learned about it. They never talk about it. The end. That was it. It was over. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like when I describe that space, that's why that to me is really important, is like to create. That's like that was the original concept, was like to have a place for leisure, a place where they have the tools where they can access and be at the beach and be like, cool, like whatever, go about your day. This is like your healing space. And then also, like I said, the products, I don't want to even downplay it, because I think like another part of this is like we don't have any representation when we look at all these surf brands, whether it's, you know, Hurley or it's Maui and Sons or it's Birdwell Britches or it's whoever it is. I'm name dropping right now. All these surf brands, we've never been included in the messaging of it. We've never been included in the visuals of it. And there's plenty of amazing black surfers in the world. And it's just like, we didn't even know we could, because we were never represented as such. So that's why I think it's important that since we're coming into this space and we're drawing such a huge new audience to surf, and it's like we have nowhere else to send them, you know, then be like, okay, you got to go over there and get a board, and you got to go there to get your leashes, and you got to go there if you want rash guards and, you know what I mean, swim trunks or whatever. So ultimately, like once we actually have the resources to develop something that is like quality and amazing, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to half step it. Like our own soft top boards and our own leashes and our own rash guards and all that type of stuff. Like just really making sure that we are the resource, and then also uplifting all the surrounding organizations, resources, and brands, because it is not a competition at all. To me, it's like people just like what they like. They like it. They had a good time. They think it looks cool. They're just gonna get it. So I'm like, I'm not in the competition of like brands, you know what I mean? I just think that we need to have a place where we're like, this is how we support our version of surf, like through Mami Wada, which is Salema's thing, which is like, that's like his is really focused on like Afro surf. That's the book he has too, and Afro surf is like that.
Oh, he did the Afro Surf book?
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
So that to me is like him taking the vision of where he's from, because he's from Africa. His father's like an epic jazz musician, Hugh Masekela, and African jazz musician. And so Salema and what he's doing with that, to me, like that's super important, to just be able to be like, cool, now there is a place where we are represented. And he actually has a pop-up on Abbot Kinney right now. I'm pretty sure they're still open. But like we just need more of that in every way. Like the list goes on, and I hope that there's like a 14-year-old kid out there right now who is like wanting to mob up and click up with his boys and do the same thing and start their own thing, because that's the goal, you know, is like to have the next person. I'm probably might even be invisible to them. They might not even care. That's the point, though. It's like they're just like out there stoked about surfing, and then they're like, oh, let's do this, and they're making their little shirts and they're going to school like, yeah, we surf. Like that's the goal, you know what I mean? It's like to inspire at the very least, like, but creating again socioeconomic equity, because they'll love to hand us the socio part. They love to give us the article and be like, can we write a blog about you guys? Can you tell us about your experience? But they don't want your brand sitting right next to theirs and being sold more. So that's what I think. It is an important part of the equation, and I just never want it to be exploitative. I always want it to be like, this is for the community. Everything as is, everything we're already doing. It's like, bro, I'm like,
yeah,
this is for the people 100,000%. So,
and everybody or people,
and everybody feels that, because it just is. You know?
For sure. And I think that is one thing, though, especially someone like me. I see how hard you're working on it, and obviously like supporting your merch and stuff is something that's important. But like, I think, or supporting the products and stuff and the experiences. But you and I have obviously had like conversations offline about just also how hard it is.
So difficult.
And like, I think that what you've captured is community and tribe, and you're building it in like a really strong organic way, and you're making the experiences like amazing for everybody. But it's also like something that's like requires all of your time, and you make no money for it. And I think that's something like important to highlight, because I think when people realize like what goes into this, they see this great experience, they see like content you're putting out, everything you're doing surrounding this thing that everybody is enjoying.
Exactly.
I think it's just maybe even give you like a little like platform to talk about ways that people can support it in general.
The best way to support it is buy a shirt, bro. If everybody bought a shirt, we'd be able to do even more. We'd be able to take it to the next level. It's like we get 1,500 RSVPs, 2,000 RSVPs on this next beach bounce coming up on August 14th. That's this Sunday. But yeah, I mean, I don't know when you're gonna put this podcast out, but but yeah, it's like we got 2,000 RSVPs, and then I hate that I like feel bad going on our Instagram page and being like, hey, so just want to let y'all know we don't have any sponsors. I am literally and have personally paid for every single thing that is Ebony Beach Club to this point, and it's like I'm like literally being like, it's kind of hard for me to accommodate 2,000 people. If even 10% of y'all chipped in $10, that $2,000 would go a long way. That would literally cover the security and the sound. And then we still got to buy waters, and we still got to like pay our instructors because they're giving everybody lessons for free. Or being like, yo, tip the instructors, and like nobody sends a tip, which it's okay because that's what we're doing. But it's like at the end of the day, we got to have something to stand on. And it's like as a community, that's the best way. Like I don't want to ever have to ask, and I never like to ask, and I really don't ever ask because it's like I want people to be like, man, you wish people could see the work that goes into it and be like, wow, all these people here are going as hard as they can for us to just have a good time, from the instructors to the people just helping work the event, the sound, myself, and my brother with the video, everything. And we're doing it for the love 100%, but a lot of times we're losing and we're giving so much of ourselves, you know, but you're like, this is for the community and I love y'all, but I got rent too, bro. Like,
yeah.
We all got to pay rent literally at the end of the day. And then you feel like a villain for like making a dime off of the community, which I don't like the way that it feels to be like, I'm like profiting off of these people. I just don't like that. Like I love when a corporation gets involved, it just throws that bread because I'm like, cool. I don't got to charge anybody for anything, as we already really don't. It's free drinks, free weed. It's free to pull up. It's free surf lessons. The only thing you got to pay for is food, and that just helps us pay for the event.
Right.
We just put a $5 surcharge on the food so we can pay for these things. You know what I mean? Like it's the only place we're really making bread, and the merch if somebody buys a shirt. So, yeah, like I wish these corporations that are all like gun ho about writing their article and making themselves look better would just like step up and be like, hey, what do y'all need? I don't even need the money personally. I'm like, give the money to Color the Water. Give the money to Soulfly Surf School. They're the ones actually running the lessons. I wish I could pay them. So it's like there's been multiple times, both of them as my witness, where I'm just forwarding the bread to them. I'm like, hey, I don't need the donation. I'm not a nonprofit, but support these people because these are the people that are actually upholding this whole thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if you got a corporation, send us some bread before you ask if you can have an interview or like whatever. Like just show some love. Buy a shirt. If you're the homie, just buy a shirt.
Right.
You know, I'll probably give you a shirt. I give a lot of people just shirts, but like,
yeah,
you buy one, it means something to me. I'm like, thank you. We need that.
For sure.
You know?
For sure. Well, shit, Brick.
But yeah, that's the conversation.
That's it. I think that's good.
Student of the gang, baby.
Let's get it.
You dig?
My brother.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Of course, man.
Salute.
Salute.